those testimony times, but we have to be willing to obey. Know this, obedience is measurable. But number 2, write this down. Obedience is exciting. Obedience is exciting. Now, I don't know if you would agree with that. I didn't at first. I was thinking and praying. Well, obedience, I guess, is exciting. But when I first wrote it down, what was really going on in my heart was, obedience is exciting when I'm watching other people obey what God's told them to do. I cut myself out of that equation. And then I had to come back and I said, well, what about when I obey? It's not so exciting. Or is it? Because I thought about that and I thought, no, I would rather watch other people be challenged by God and they have to change and I don't. But the reality is when I'm challenged and when God speaks to me, and even though it's difficult and even though it's hard and I don't want to do it, when I do it, God releases his miraculous powers in my life. And that right there is exciting. That is exciting. Understand this, when we come to this story where he talks about the pots, they were ceremonial pots, okay? It's the kind of pots that would be outside of the church, and if you came into the temple, you washed your hands. Why? Because that's what we always do. We do what we do because we've always done it. That's religious, okay? That's religion. And God says, this here, a relationship with God should be exciting, not just a hoop that you jump through. Not just something that you do because you've always done it. It should be something that spurs you on to life. These pots had less to do with them being a container and more to do with them being a representation. And what they represented was dead religion. They represented dead religion. That is, until God got a hold of them. It represented dead religion until Jesus got involved. He takes the very containers that represent what dead religion is all about, and he whips it up and turns water into wine, and now there's a celebration taking place. The same can be true in our lives. Don't go through the humdrum routine, Sunday go-to-meeting kind of church thing. I sang my song, I prayed, and I put my money in the offering so I can be spared another miserable week to come back to church and do it over again. That is not why God sent his son to die on a cross for you and for me. He sent his son to die. Give the Lord a hand. So we can obey him and we can be excited because he's alive and he's well. And he's a part of my life. He's a part of your life. That's what makes the difference, the whole difference in the world. The Pharisees, Matthew 15 says this. Some of the Pharisees and scribes came to Jesus and said, "Why do your disciples break the traditions of the elders? For they do not wash their hands when they eat bread." Remember that? Hey, did you catch those key things? Why do they break tradition? Why do they not wash their hands when we eat like we always have done? This is the way we've always done it. Don't they know this? That's dead religion. And God says, behold, all things are becoming new. Because when you obey him, then there's an excitement that takes place in your heart and in your life. God is doing something fresh and new. He met the woman at the well, and she was empty, miserable, had a void in her life. She's getting water and pulling that up out of the well, and Jesus said, hey, everyone who drinks that water is going to thirst again, but I can give you some water that you will thirst no longer. In other words, he was saying, get rid of the dead religion. Quit doing what you've always done because you've always done it. It's not about a structure, the church. It's about us. We are the church. You do know that, right? You understand that we are the church. We can leave this building, go to Hy-Vee, and guess what? We are still the church. We can drive to Davenport, go to Biaggi's, and you can buy me lunch, and we are still the church. I didn't hear any amens. It's worth a shot. We are the church. It's who we are, and that's why it's so important to obey. What is this one thing that we have to understand? Obedience. Why? Because our obedience, understand, it's measurable. Our obedience, it's exciting when you pray and obey. They go hand in hand. You can't obey something that hasn't been spoken to you. So you have to go and talk to God to find out what he says, and then when he says what he says, obey what he says. It's like a double-barrel shotgun. You get a hold of both those triggers, and you're going to see something powerful happen in your life. You know, many times I say pray and obey. We want to, but we say, but I'm not feeling it. It's not about how you feel. God says obey. Well, you don't know what circumstances I'm going through. I don't, but pray and obey. Well, you don't understand how broke I am. No, I don't. But I know this, that if you will seek him, and if you will pray and you obey what God told you to do, there will be something phenomenal that will take place in your life, and you will have those testimonies like this lady at this other church. You see, these pots were dead religion until Jesus got a hold of them. And some of the things that we have in our life can be seen as just a hoop that we're jumping through, but when Jesus gets a hold of it, or more importantly, when you get a hold of Jesus, things change and excitement comes because he transforms your life and mine. So do you want to know how to make your Christian walk more exciting? Here it is. Whatever he says, do it. Whatever he says, do it. Number 3, we'll close with this. Obedience is the key to our heart's desires. His first miracle was not raising the dead. It wasn't healing somebody. His first miracle was saving a family from embarrassment. His first miracle was simply blessing another family. When God says give, you know what we tend to do? We tend to hold back too many times. Why? Because if I don't take care of me, nobody else will. And when God calls us to give, we simply have to respond in obedience. But some of the normal knee-jerk reactions is, I'll give you this portion. But what really happens is this: God will tell us to forgive, and we'll say, yes, I forgive. But there's this little sliver I'm holding on to for a rainy day in case I want to punish them just a little bit more. And we hold on to that, and God says, no. You need to surrender that. Surrender that. Or maybe there's a temptation that you struggle with. And you